In this video, we're going to go over the 11 types of connective tissue, one by one with pictures. Recall there are 6 types of connective tissue proper, 3 loose, 3 dense. There's also 3 types of cartilage, bone, and blood. So let's start with connective tissue proper, loose, areolar. This is areolar. Connective tissue proper, it's loose, which means, the cells are free to navigate through this connective tissue. You'll see the nuclei of cells scattered throughout, a lot of collagen in pink for some strength. This tissue is found head to toe in many places in the body. It wraps around organs or packages organs, and it's also under your skin layer or under epithelium. We call this the lamina propria. And the lamina propria is this thin layer of connective tissue under mucous membranes, like the respiratory tract, the digestive tract, urinary tract. So we find areolar tissue here so cells can migrate and patrol this area to help fight infections if any pathogen happens to get through. The second type of loose connective tissue proper is adipose tissue, which are fat cells. Here's what they look like. They look like these white circles, and their nuclei is pressed up against the plasma membrane. We find this under the skin in the layer we call the hypodermis and in other parts of the body. The third and last type of connective tissue proper, loose, is reticular connective tissue. We find these in organs that have to filter, like the spleen or lymph nodes. The spleen filters blood, lymph nodes filter tissue fluid, and it's called reticular connective tissue because it contains reticular fibers, these branched fibers that trap all of these cells so white blood cells can mature and fight infections. There are 3 types of dense connective tissue proper, the first one being dense regular. With dense regular, the fibers are packed closely together, very densely. You can see the nuclei of the fibroblast cells squished in between these fibers, and these fibers are collagen fibers. All the fibers are running in the same direction. They're all parallel to each other, so therefore you have strength in this one direction. So the location where we would need strength in one direction would be tendons and ligaments in our bodies. Tendons connect muscle to bone, and ligaments connect bone to other bones. Our second type of dense connective tissue proper is dense irregular. Here we can see the fibers running in all different directions. In regular, they were all parallel to each other. In dense irregular, they're running in all directions. Therefore, dense irregular connective tissue proper has strength in all directions, not just in one plane. We see this in some joint capsules, but a big area where we see it, what we'll take up later in this course, is in the dermis, which is the deeper layer of skin. The third and last type of connective tissue proper is elastic connective tissue. Elastic connective tissue uses elastic fibers, which you see in black. You can see the wave pattern of these elastic fibers, so imagine stretching this tissue to straighten these fibers and then letting go, and the tissue will recoil right back. So that's what the function of this tissue is. It allows for stretch and recoil. Where we need this the most is in our large arteries, the largest being the aorta. The walls of these large arteries have to withstand the blood pressure coming through, so this tissue has to be able to stretch and recoil, and that's what happens here. There are 3 types of cartilage connective tissue. Before we go into the 3 types, let's look at some things that cartilage has in common. It's avascular, just like epithelial tissue was avascular, meaning it does not have a blood supply. The cells in cartilage tissue are called chondroblasts. They produce a tough gel-like matrix. When they secrete to the point where they trap themselves in their own matrix, the chondroblasts become chondrocytes. And they live in their little cave that they trap themselves in, called a lacuna, to maintain the cartilage from that point on. Also recall that chondro refers to cartilage. Here are the three types of cartilage. We're going to go through them with pictures: hyaline, elastic, and fibrocartilage, and it will be important to know their locations in the body, because we'll see that in multiple chapters. Hyaline cartilage is the type of cartilage that we have the most of. Here you can see the chondrocytes trapped in their lacuna, and the extracellular matrix is made up mostly of water, but some proteins to thicken the material and make it more gel-like. Where do we find hyaline cartilage? Here's the list, and these are all going to be important. Your embryonic skeleton is not bone, it's actually hyaline cartilage. The ends of your long bones in your joints is hyaline cartilage. Also, we find it in costal cartilage, which is rib cartilage. Your nose cartilage, your trachea or windpipe cartilage, and your voice box, your larynx, is also hyaline cartilage. Elastic cartilage looks a little different. You can see the chondrocytes in their lacuna, but in the matrix it doesn't look glossy like hyaline cartilage did. We have these dark fibers which are elastic fibers. Now it's important to note the difference. Elastic tissue, we refer to elastic connective tissue proper, which is dense. This is elastic cartilage, so be sure to specify if you using this as an answer that you want elastic cartilage and not elastic dense connective tissue proper. So elastic cartilage uses elastic fibers that we see in the matrix, which allows for flexibility. We only see elastic cartilage in two very specific spots in the body, and both areas begin with the letter E, just like elastic does. The external ear and the epiglottis. The epiglottis is a flap of cartilage that blocks the trachea or the windpipe when you're swallowing so you don't choke. The third and final type of cartilage is fibrocartilage. It's sort of like hyaline cartilage, but it has really thick collagen fibers. You can see these small little chondrocytes in their lacuna and all of that collagen that's in the extracellular matrix. Fibrocartilage is found in three specific locations: your intervertebral discs between your vertebrae, they are fibrocartilage. Discs of the knee, we call those each one a meniscus, that's fibrocartilage. And your pubic symphysis, which is a small piece of fibrocartilage in between your two pubic bones. Unlike cartilage, bone is extremely vascular. It consists of osteons, which is a structural unit of bone, which we'll see, and the cell types of bone are osteoblasts when they're immature, producing the matrix, and the osteocytes are the mature bone cells residing in their lacunae, just like cartilage cells do. Here's bone. This happens to be compact bone, and each one of these circular structures is an osteon, with a canal in the center of it for blood vessels and nerves to pass through. You see the many layers, which are called lamella, circular layers, and you also have layers of bone in between these osteons. Bones is what makes up your skeleton, so we really don't need a location for bones. Blood is atypical connective tissue because it's liquid. It is connective tissue because it develops from those stem cells called mesenchyme. The matrix is the plasma of the blood, and the cells are red blood cells and white blood cells. Red blood cells are your erythrocytes, and there's many types of white blood cells that will be more important for you in A&P Part 2. Here's a microscope image of blood, with the red blood cells being these tiny pink discs, and these larger purple nuclei cells would be the white blood cells. They're purple because we use stain in order to visualize them.